Intro. What if every decision you made as a leader, whether in business, family, or your own personal life, was guided not by impulse, but by wisdom refined for over 2,000 years? Imagine stepping into a room where pressure is high, emotions are tense, and people look to you for answers. Most leaders stumble here. They react. They let anger, fear, or pride speak first. And yet, the Stoics, the ancient philosophers of resilience and clarity, show us another way. Stoicism is not about being cold or emotionless. It is about sharpening the mind, steadying the heart, and ensuring that your choices are born from reason rather than reaction. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, faced betrayal, war, and unimaginable stress, yet his decisions, preserved in meditations, reveal a quiet strength that every modern leader can still learn from today. In this video, we'll uncover 5 timeless Stoic lessons, each one a lens that can transform how you decide, lead, and live, from keeping clarity over emotion to remembering the brevity of life. These principles are as urgent in today's chaotic world as they were in Rome's empire. Before we dive in, take a moment to subscribe to Legacy of Thinkers. Here, we bring the forgotten wisdom of history into the present, so you can live, lead, and think with greater strength. Hit that subscribe button, and let's step together into Lesson 1. Lesson 1: Clarity over Emotion. Leaders are often judged not by what they know, but by how they respond when pressure hits hardest. Picture the boardroom where tempers flare, or the family table when disagreement turns sharp. In those moments, most people surrender to emotion. They lash out, they shut down, or they let fear dictate the path. The Stoics warned against this trap. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You will meet people who are rude, selfish, or misguided, but their actions cannot control your mind." Clarity over emotion doesn't mean ignoring how you feel. It means placing reason in the driver's seat. A Stoic leader pauses when others panic. He breathes when others rage. She looks for the truth beneath the noise before making her choice. This pause is not weakness, it is power. Because every decision made in anger carries a cost you cannot take back. Seneca once wrote that anger is temporary madness. If that's true, then clarity is the cure. A leader who can resist the pull of rage, who can hold back words sharpened by ego, earns trust and respect without even asking for it. People don't follow those who explode. They follow those who remain steady when the storm rises. To lead with clarity is to remind yourself, emotions are signals, not commands. You can listen without obeying. You can feel without losing control. And in that space between stimulus and response, real leadership is born. Lesson 2: Focus on what you control. A leader's greatest mistake is to waste energy on what they can never influence. Markets shift, politics change, rumors spread. None of these are fully in your hands. Yet how many hours are lost in anxiety over tomorrow's headlines or someone else's opinion? Epictetus, the Stoic teacher once enslaved, gave us the most liberating rule. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. This single line is a compass for leadership. What is up to you? Your values, your effort, your attitude, the fairness of your decisions. What is not? The economy, competitors, the past, or the praise you hope to receive. When leaders confuse these categories, they end up paralyzed by fear or intoxicated by illusions. Imagine a captain steering a ship through a storm. He cannot control the wind or the waves, but he can control the sail, the rudder, and the discipline of his crew. The same is true in business, in family, in life. The Stoic leader accepts the storm without panic. and then acts with calm precision on what is truly his to command. When you let go of what lies beyond your reach, you free up energy for the choices that matter. Focus is not just efficiency, it is sanity. A leader who masters this principle doesn't just survive uncertainty, they inspire others to stand steady in it. That is real control. Lesson 3: Lead by example, not words. A leader's influence is measured less by speeches and more by actions. Words can inspire for a moment, but behavior builds trust that lasts. Seneca, the Roman Stoic, put it simply: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Employees, children, communities, they are not shaped by lectures. They are shaped by what they see you consistently do. Think of a manager who demands punctuality yet arrives late. His words collapse under the weight of his example. Contrast that with the leader who shows up early, prepared, steady, and fair. Without raising his voice, he commands respect. People naturally follow because they sense authenticity. The Stoics knew that virtue was never about claiming moral ground. It was about living it. Marcus Aurelius never asked soldiers to endure hardships he himself would not face. He marched alongside them, shared their rations, and carried the same fatigue. That silent witness of integrity spoke louder than any order could. To lead by example is to accept that your life is the message. Your habits teach your team what matters. Your consistency becomes their compass. And when crises strike, no slogan, no poster, no motivational talk can replace the quiet authority of a leader whose actions align with his values. That is Stoic leadership in its purest form. Lesson 4: Remember mortality, memento mori. Every leader believes they have time to fix mistakes, to mend relationships, to chase the vision tomorrow. But the Stoics remind us, tomorrow is never promised. Memento mori, remember you must die, was not meant to be morbid. It was meant to sharpen focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." When leaders forget mortality, they drift, they delay hard decisions, let ego battles consume them, and waste energy on appearances. But when they hold death close, priorities shift. Suddenly, legacy matters more than vanity. Integrity matters more than applause. The urgency to act with clarity becomes undeniable. Picture a CEO hesitating to fire a toxic executive because it's uncomfortable. Weeks turn into months, and the team suffers. A Stoic mindset cuts through the delay. If life is short, why waste another day protecting what destroys the mission? Mortality strips away excuses and forces courage. This isn't about living in fear, it's about living awake. Knowing that life is finite transforms leadership from managing the moment to shaping the future. The Stoic leader sees every day as borrowed time. And with that awareness, every decision becomes sharper, braver, and more deeply human. Lesson 5: Value wisdom over wealth and power. The world often tells us that success is measured by the size of your bank account or the reach of your influence. But the Stoics turned that idea upside down. For them, wealth and power were tools, not trophies. Seneca, himself one of the richest men in Rome, warned that riches without wisdom are chains disguised as gold. What truly elevates a leader is not what they own, but how they think and how they act when pressure comes. History is filled with leaders who had enormous resources yet collapsed under the weight of arrogance. Contrast them with Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire but constantly reminded himself that wisdom, justice, and self-control mattered more than palaces or armies. His greatness came not from the throne he sat on, but from the discipline he lived by. Wisdom is the compass that wealth and power cannot provide. Money can buy compliance, but only wisdom earns loyalty. Authority can demand obedience, but only fairness wins respect. A Stoic leader understands that fortune rises and falls, but character endures. To value wisdom over wealth and power is to build something that survives you long after the profits are spent and the titles forgotten. What remains is how you treated people, how you carried yourself, and the example you left behind. That is the kind of leadership the Stoics considered true success. Outro. We've walked through 5 timeless lessons from the Stoics. Keep clarity over emotion. Focus only on what you can control. Led through action, not speeches. Remember mortality, and place wisdom above wealth or power. These are not abstract ideas. They are practical habits that can reshape every choice you make as a leader, a parent, a friend, or simply as a human being. But wisdom is only alive when it's practiced. So I challenge you. Pick one of these lessons and apply it today. Pause before reacting. Let go of something you cannot control. Show your team consistency instead of empty promises. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, what decision would truly matter? These small shifts build the kind of leadership that leaves a legacy. Now, I want to hear from you. Which Stoic lesson struck you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. And if this message gave you value, share it with someone who needs it right now. Don't forget to hit that like button. It tells YouTube this wisdom matters. And most importantly, subscribe to Legacy of Thinkers. This is where ancient philosophy meets modern life, giving you the tools to lead with strength and live with clarity. The Stoics believed we cannot control the length of our life, but we can shape its depth. So let's go shape it together.